Season 16 is currently in its last week, and with it, we have finally gotten the final bit of the season released with the competitive drives event. And I thought, why don't I just make a review and provide my thoughts on this season, as this was a very mixed season, to say the least. We had so many themes, so many collaborations, a lot of interesting things happen, but without further ado, let's get into the review. Now, I do want to state a few things I will not get into. Number one, I will not get into any drama that happened this season. I don't want to talk about those because there was a lot of drama. Only drama I will talk about is mainly with Freya. That's about it. And with Stadium. About it with what I will be talking about. And I will also be providing, possibly in a future video, where I've been, basically. For those that watch my YouTube only. But without further ado, let's talk about the Season 16, which is Doki Watch. Now, we're going to be talking about the theme first. Now, the theme was quite interesting and also a bit controversial with the way they did it. Now, the way it worked is Doki Watch is kind of like Sailor Moon theme, cool theme. But the issue that was at hand is the skins, besides maybe one or two, could be wrong about that, were just in the shop, I should say. It was only in a bundle for the skins, and the Ultimate Battle Pass bundle, and, of course, Mercy's Mythic Weapon, which we will discuss as well later. Now, I do think they could have done it a better way. I don't like how they did it just in the shop. I don't agree with that. The Battle Pass, to me at least, was cool. I wish most of the skins for Doki Watch were in the past. The only one I can recall is Genji. I'll probably put up on screen what the skins that were in the past that were Doki Watch theme. But, is what it is, unfortunately. The next season looks like it's going to be a little different, which we'll also discuss later. And with the Doki Watch theme, we also had a new game mode, Stadium. Now, Stadium, I've had to think about. Stadium is one of those game modes where it could have been really good at the start and really bad. Now, I do like Stadium. I think the idea of you basically building a kit is one of the coolest things they've ever done. However, I do think there is a bit of a balance issue. And what I mean by that is we're going to get into the next topic as it directly involves Stadium, Freya. Freya released mid-season with Stadium. Of course, Freya released Stadium. I do think she was a bit... I don't know if they tested her, but she was broken. I do not think I've ever been so angry at the game before when Freya got added to Stadium. She has been getting nerfed so many times that I personally... This is just my opinion... If they don't fix her soon, next season, I wouldn't be surprised if they nerf her as much as Brig was nerfed when she got debuted. She is one of the most complex characters I think they've ever done. She's very hard to hit without more nerfs to her mobility. Like, unless you're good with snipers like Widowmaker and Ashe, she is very hard to hit. I found myself just... First day she released on Stadium, she was like a jet in the sky. She was so quick, you couldn't get her. It was so difficult. But I do think she's a cool character. I do like that we got some type of Norse kind of thing, as that's personally what my thing that I have is Norse. Like, I wear literally a Norse protection rune necklace. But enough about that. They also added hero bans to competitive. Now, this is another topic I'm up in the air about. I do think hero bans are interesting. However, some of them are a bit forced, so to speak. 3 characters that I've seen the most banned is Sombra, Zarya, and I believe Freya is actually still getting banned. I'm recording this as of June 19th. So... I do think the hero bans need a little bit of a rework. They've even discussed it in a blog. But it's very interesting, to say the least, with Freya. or not Freya, with hero bands. I do think they're cool. It gives people, that you actually have to adapt, and it's not the same thing over and over for a game. But for a while, I do believe I've seen clips, just people banning people's favorite characters. That's not okay with hero bans, personally, but that is something they'll probably touch on. But, hero bans, Doki Watch theme, Stadium, and then Freya. Cool. Cool start to the season. And then later we got, that was revealed at the end of the trailer, it was a little teaser with Mercy, and they revealed the Gundam collab. Now, I know nothing about Gundam at all. I'm even considering just watching the anime. I assume it's an anime. But I will be also providing a video that will start in a few minutes about what the Gundam collab is and the skins. And without further ado, let's showcase the skins. Alright, so these are the Gundam skins. We are going to start with Reaper. Now, I've gone to the liberty of muting all the voices and the music, so we should just be able to hear the sound effects only. Now, with the Gundam skins, they are kind of, referencing Gundam, hence why there's certain sound effects. So, with the weapons, there's a, little effect, which I will play now. So it has a little, electric effect, I should say. The teleport also has an effect. I do not believe his Wraith form. Let me actually test that. Oh, it does. Okay. Then obviously when you do his ultimate, he has an effect as it's just the shotguns. Now, on to the next is Ramatra. Ramatra has a few extra ones because he has a little more abilities. So for his barrier, it just goes up, has that little effect as well. You hear the sound starting to die down. Now, as for his Ravenous Vortex, I believe it does have effect. Somewhat. And then with his Nemesis form, obviously. Which it has as well. Next one is the Soldier skin. Which, Soldier skin, personally, I like as well. I've taken the liberty of unequipping mythic weapons as well, so we can actually get the full picture, as it does kind of clash with the sound effects. So his Helix rocket, his Bioc field as well, his sprint. So and then his ultimate. And then finally, we have Mercy's. Mercy's is one of the more unique ones. Well, I shouldn't say unique. But as you can hear as well, when you hit the, I believe it's called Angelic Descent. I hardly play Mercy, so I don't really know her abilities. Has a little effect. As for her pistol as well. Then her healing. And her boost. So yeah, I believe that is all there is for the Gundam sound effects. Now, back to the review video. Before I forget, we also do the highlight intros showcasing the skins. Now, this is the one for Mercy. The one for Reaper. The one for Ramatra, and the one for Soldier. Alright, and those were the Gundam skins. Again, I do like the effects they have, especially the highlight intros. I do think that's really unique with the highlight intros. Now, on to the next part that happened. After the Gundam collab, there wasn't really anything crazy, I believe it was. But there was also Stadium Roadmap. Now, I will provide the one that they released at the time of this roadmap, because we recently just got one updated, like not even a day ago of recording this. So, at the roadmap that was released, Freya, mid-season she released, she's now in Stadium. And then Season 17, Junkrat, Sigma, Zenyatta, Esperanza Push, Samoa Control. And then unranked crossplay, share saver builds, new all-star rewards, custom games, and more example builds. Now, I do want to talk about the new one, as the new one actually changes a few things. Now, they have decided to change Season 18 and Season 17 with Stadium. Now, for Season 17, there is custom games, more example builds, Stadium drives that will happen. So, I don't know if competitive and Stadium, you can do drives together. Unsure, we'll just have to wait and see on Tuesday when the season releases. Stadium Forge save and share builds, I do like that quite a bit. And with it, they have also decided to remove Sojourn for Season 18 of Stadium for Pharah. Now, I do think they have learned their mistake, because as you can see also on the roadmap for mid-season 18, the new character that was codenamed Aqua. I'd have to look up what his their name was again. But they've decided that they will no longer... It looks like they're no longer going to do new characters as soon as they release for Stadium. Which is good, because Freya in Stadium... I do not think I've been more miserable, as I've stated earlier. She was so broken that they nerfed her, I think, 3 times. I believe they're even... developing an anti-air ability for her for Stadium, which is insane that they even have to completely make a new ability. But with the Stadium roadmap, I won't touch too much on it because, again, as you can tell, it's already changed. So with it, they did, show us what is to come of the season. Now, on to the other things that happened. Now, there was some other things to discuss. Now, they decided to release the Stadium statistics, which personally don't agree with it. Now, the hero pick rates just shows how broken. This is before Freya release, so keep that in mind. But Soldier was almost a #1 pick. He still kind of is. But then we go to also win rates, which is interesting to look at. Lucio is almost at 60%, but he is the least picked. That is something that is very weird. Now, console was different. That's something I don't know where the article went. But there was a discussion about it where they basically said that they have to balance for both console and PC. Unfortunately, the bit of a bummer, I will admit, but it is what it is with the Stadium. I do think Stadium has the potential to be one of those game modes that will bring even new players to the game. It's very different from Overwatch's unique style, I guess, you could say. But on to the next topic, which after a while we had a few weeks with nothing, and they eventually announced the Street Fighter collab. This is something I didn't expect. But with a Street Fighter collab, I bought it. I don't want to talk about how much it was. But I will show the effects. Unfortunately, with the effects, as I'll probably say in the video, there's not much. There's not much besides the highlight intros and emotes, unfortunately. But without further ado, let's go and show those Street Fighter cosmetics. Alright, and now time to showcase the Street Fighter skins. Now, there is a little bit less effects compared to Gundam with the Street Fighter skins, unfortunately. I was really hoping there was going to be more, but mainly besides 2 characters, there's only a melee unique effect. Nothing with the gun, nothing with the weapon. I've tested it, nothing. The only one who has maybe a little bit of a different sound effect for the melee is Sigma with his M. Bison skin. So I will show the melee now with Widowmaker and the rest of them along the way. For Winston, nothing too crazy. For Kiriko,
assassin is free.
For Juno, the only thing unique with Juno is she has a little bit of a effect. As you can see, her foot and leg kind of points up. And then for Sigma, he does kind of have a different melee, as you can hear. But again, still the same sound effect. Now the only two that there is Hanzo and Zenyatta. For Hanzo and Zenyatta, it is their ultimate. These are the only two characters that have anything really unique with them. Unfortunately, I was really hoping, as I stated earlier in this, that there would be something cool, but his Dragon Strike has a different sound effect and voice line. Not really sound effect, but more of a voice line. And then for Zenyatta, his ultimate as well.
The essence of yoga has graced you.
And then for all of them, there is an emote. So for Zenyatta's Dualism wins. Nothing too crazy. Juno, she has 2, so Chun-Li wins. And then Spinning Bird Kick. Hanzo has a Hadouken emote. Nothing, too crazy. Widowmaker has Cammy wins. Again, nothing really too crazy. The ones where it has wins in it are basically victory poses as well. Soldier, Guile wins. Just his victory pose, really. This one's more of a loop, so he just does this infinitely. Over and over, just jumping up. Just pretty funny for Winston. And then, of course,
I'll find my own path.
we got to end it off with Kiriko, she has 2, she has 1. Killer Beam. And it has 2 voice lines when you do it, depending on which one you get.
Killer beam or whatever.
And those are the emotes and the effects. Again, really unfortunate, but we shall continue with the highlight intros. Now, for each highlight intro, there is music to go along with it, so it does actually change the highlight intro music, which I do like. It's very interesting that it changes it completely. It does a full track, hence why I'm kind of talking over it, as I don't really know if it's copyrighted. So this is Hanzo's Scrap Heap, Winston's Scrap Heap, Sigma's Psycho Power, or Psychic Power, Soldier's Guile wins, Widowmaker's Cammy wins highlight intro, Kiriko's Time to Play highlight intro, which obviously is referencing Akira, but if you do unequip it, it does actually show something different. So any other skin, it'll actually do the Tracer highlight intro, unfortunately. So kind of a reskin. And then the final is Juno Chun-Li. Now, time to get back to the video. So, as I said in the video for the Street Fighter collab with the skins, there wasn't much. It only had the melee, unfortunately. I was a bit disappointed, to be honest. As Street Fighter is kind of one of those games that granted, I didn't really know what else they could do for the effects. Maybe they could have done, like, a punching sound effect with the weapons, which, to be fair, would have been quite weird, but I digress. With the Street Fighter collab, there was also Overwatch Classic. Now, both Street Fighter and Overwatch Classic had their own challenges. Overwatch Classic was the October 2020 patch where Echo was released by then. I was not playing this. This is when I kind of took my break during Overwatch 1, still weird to say, and just don't remember much. I didn't record any gameplay of it because I mainly just wanted to get the challenges done and over with. I don't remember much with October 2020. That was kind of my period when I didn't really play the game much. But we also got, with the Street Fighter collab, the Mercy Mythic release. Now, this Mythic is, I think it's one of the cutest Mythics they've released. I know for a fact Blizzard is probably making a lot of money from this Mythic. Might be the cutest Mythic and even caused me to play Mercy more. Do not think I've ever played a character faster with their Mythic weapon. We have had Reaper, or not Reaper, Reaper's next season, apologies. Reinhardt, Soldier, Ana, and I believe it was Widowmaker was the last one they did. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that was something they did. I do think they're interesting. I do like that they're putting more effort, or I should not say effort, more effects with Mercy's Mythic, because it's a very interesting Mythic, and it's fully evolved. This is the first time we've had one that's just fully evolved. But I do like the Mythic for Mercy, even though I'm personally not a Mercy player, but this actually made me play Mercy more. Now, on to the next thing, which was the hero bans statistics. Now, this is something that was interesting. Did not expect this. I was expecting, well, I partially expected it. PC, but they did two separate hero bans. They did PC bans and they did console bans. Now, looking at them as I'll pull them up onto the screen, it's insane how much banned Sombra is. She is almost 100% banned, both console and PC. But if we look on console, however, for tanks, Doomfist, or PC, Doomfist is the second most banned, whereas Wrecking Ball is on console. And another thing is also Ana is more banned on PC, whereas Mercy is more banned on console. Now, this is something they've talked about, but it also has me worried for what's going to happen to Sombra. There's been a lot of talk, and I personally think they're going to make her a support. I know people don't want to hear it. I know people don't want to hear me say that, but Sombra has had so much stuff done with her kit to the point where she even has a perk where she heals when you hack allies with her with the perk. I believe it's called White Hat. Could be wrong. But it's very interesting to look at these two things, as Freya is also the second banned character on PC, but Symmetra is on console. Now, again, I come from console. I was first a console player when Overwatch 1 started with the first Christmas event, and then I transitioned to PC. I don't know how these PC bans and console bans work, but it's very interesting to look at, just side by side with the bans. I don't know what they could do for Sombra, as every game I'm in, I maybe see her very, very rarely within the game of just competitive games. Even when I was doing the drives today, it was maybe almost every single game was Sombra banned. And when I had to deal with a Sombra, it was kind of miserable. I will not lie. It was kind of miserable. Kind of miserable. It was not fun. But it was very interesting to really see what they did with the hero bans. Now, after this, for June, we actually got a Pride event. Now, the Pride event only consists of a short story and cosmetics that were given out for free, a soldier skin, and an emote. I do wish they did more with the Pride event. It's not really an event, unfortunately, as there's no real challenges. They just put pride flags on Midtown, and I believe New Queen Street. I could be wrong about that. But it's an event, I guess. I like the cosmetics. I think they're cool, especially with the rainbow mist that comes out of the emote that I will showcase on screen. It's kind of cool. I don't mind the event. I think it's cool. Cool that we're getting more diversity. But But the final thing that released with this season was the competitive drives. Now, as a Junkrat player, or just someone who likes playing as Junkrat, I do like these competitive drives. They're kind of nice. I don't know if I'm going to progress all the way. The last one I did for last season, I progressed all the way. This one I might not, because it's very, very difficult to do it with Freya now in the mix. But I will also be discussing, I do think, the thing with the drives is I kind of wish they just stayed. Just wish they were permanent. Like, I don't know why it's so hard to keep them permanent. Now, with everything released, it's time for me to give my final score on the season. I do think this was one of the better seasons. The pros about it was obviously Stadium. The season's literally called Stadium, I believe it was. But with Doki Watch, I don't like how most of the skins you had to pay for. That's something I did not like. Next season looks like it's going to be different, which I will discuss shortly after this review. I would give this season probably a 7.5 out of 10. It would probably be in my top 5 seasons, personally. As last season, I didn't discuss it because I was kind of on hiatus. But it was alright. I don't think it was the worst season. It's still the season that Malga released. That season's still the worst. But this season, I did not mind it. I liked the collaborations. Did not expect Street Fighter. That was not planned. I do think this season was quite nice, to say the least. Now, what is next in Season 17 that we should discuss? Season 17 is going to be called Powered Up, and with it we will have 8-bit skins. The theme is obviously 8-bit, but we also got Academy skins, which I don't mind. I actually like the Academy skins quite a bit. And for the first time ever, they are going to release the Weapon Mythic with the Skin Mythic, which I don't know how I feel about that, because my wallet's not going to like me very much. But there's also a mode they're going to release in July with the season. I'm not going to touch much on Season 17, as I will be streaming it on Tuesday, which that's what I've been doing, kind of, instead of, content on here. Apologies for that. But I am excited to see what the next season holds. Now, what do you think about Season 16? Again, it was an okay season. I did not mind it too much, but I hope to see you all on my stream on Tuesday when I go live with Season 17. Now, I hope you all have a good rest of your evening, day, night, and good luck on those competitive drives, because, you're gonna need it. You are honestly gonna need it. I'll catch you all on the next video and stream. Or stream. Peace.
Yeah, with the 007 like I'm sophisticated. Fit on me